tired for summertime in Michigan. You get 2 good months, you gotta fit what you can in. Morning, guys. What up? Let's get to work. We got things to do. Hey, Laura, what's going on? Giggy, where you been lately? Yeah, we got a little bit of a gap down in the market, 0.9%. Actually, that's ideal. We do want to probably see, there's been a little bit of frothiness the last few days. We definitely want to see a little bit of this kind of pullback. We do want to see a little bit of pullback. Typically, a 1% pullback into QQQs. You usually do get a bounce at the open. You know, if you're thinking about how historically markets, react to gaps. If you look, I think, we're in a good location here. But we have been getting a little frothy, so having a little bit of pullback in the market. A little pullback in the market here. That's to be expected. We're at we hit right into kind of a 2-tap resistance here. So we do got to come back in for the third. Okay, Dow also weak. So this is going to be a little bit interesting. I think with so much trend the last few days, the play is still to try for a red to green, but we're going to have to be just a little bit mindful that, we may just get a little bit of a summer bleed. Last time, when like a lot of these meme kind of things were going, what the fuck? Last time, like, when a lot of these meme stocks were going, they were, I don't know what the proper terminology would be, but you did get a little bit of a pullback in the markets when, like, all the money was piling into GME. So, we'll have to see if that relationship still holds. It'd be nice to get a few days of kind of upside, but, we just don't always get it. Let's take a look and see what type of news plays are out there, and then we'll kind of go into the regular watch list. I do think, you're getting into a very, very weird spot in, your AMCs and BBs where, you may be better off, like, not taking the stress on it. You're getting into a sweet spot where you're gonna have like weird. Like if you see here, like the size of this candle's $10. That makes it much harder to control on the long side. I think probably the time, right, was in these last few days. This might have been the kind of last gasp. Who knows, right? I mean, you never know till you know. We'll have to be a little bit careful. Even something like this BlackBerry 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row. I mean, it had 300 million shares in volume yesterday. Oftentimes, the increase in volume can often be more of a capitulation event than a buy signal, meaning that, when you get that last big, right, parabolic in the volume versus like just a steady increase in volume, that could tell you that that's a blow off, and is it a blow off? Who knows? This thing was up at $28, but we're getting closer to the top than the bottom. That's where you have to be just really careful with these kind of things. So I don't anticipate probably trying to play any, AMC, and you can see it, it's only opened down 1%, so it's not really a big deal. There's probably a good shot this thing goes red to green today, and then we'll see what happens after, but it's still a lot of risk in it. And you can see like EXPR, this had shitty earnings out. Man, earnings out. Most likely they'll be fucking diluting the shit out of this thing. So, once a couple of these things start to roll over too, like you can see this thing down from $8 to $4.50. Once a couple of these things start to roll over, it may go into some of the other ones. But let's take a look at just the PR side here. This Jizz Holdings. Fucking A. This Jizz Holdings is, I don't know what the news is. It's hard to always find it on these Chinese names. But you do have like kind of a nice base over here. We shredded this thing a couple days ago. I think it was a week ago. And This thing, I mean, it might be something. This thing moves real fast. You know, we took a flag pattern on this, like literally a couple weeks ago, and you can see right here, like it just pulled back to the 9 EMA. Yeah, well, we just got to be careful because Mr. Mugatu's been getting very Dave Hassman lately. For his sake, we may have to not trade this. So we got this thing. I mean, you can see like what happens here. I mean, in one candle, it's at $10, $12. You know, so it does have that nice ability to move. Now it is fading off its gap a little bit, and so that's, you know, not good. You'd rather see this thing up a little bit. Well, let's keep that on watch. I think that one's going to have a chance. This is a bank. BlackBerry is still in play. Frankly, I think if these things collapse, the easy short is not really on AMC, but it's on BlackBerry, you know, because it's got just, it's a little bit cheaper price and it has a little bit less range. Mr. Mugatu, we got to do what we got. It's a family. We try to help you. We try to help you. We may stay away from the jizz. Now, boom, 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 BB. Yeah, I think if we need a short at some point, this is the easier one to do. Workhorse is coming out of range. You know what? This one has actually been due for a pop. You know, you got room still up to the 200 SMA. I think that, you know, I wouldn't chase a 23% gap up on this thing, but it was acting very nice yesterday. You know, if it comes back and fills out a little bit, let's add this. You know, ride was really hot yesterday. You had a huge trend on this one, and you got a nice location if it gets over. You know, maybe Workhorse follows through on that one also. You can already see this one's not waiting for us. But these things are hot, man. This was a very nice, clean, easy trender. It's very rare, especially in these names, like, you know, you get a 9 EMA trender for hours, you know. I think that the location is back on these things, and we want to be on the train on some of these. So I would put on Workhorse, Ride. Both of these are potential, you know, day trading opportunities. Clove is a huge turn. I'd leave that alone. Hey, so this TLRY, it's already fading off its gap. You did have a key remount of your 50 SMA, and man, you had a key remount of your 50 SMA. You got kind of a rounding bottom pattern here. It may need to chill out and pull back some of this gap a little bit. But I'd keep an alert right at about 1950, something like that. If it pulls back and comes back into the support, I think you're going to get a nice kind of location into a potential long, especially if, you know, a lot of these stocks still keep squeezing. We're in a very, very weird spot because yesterday was like a monster trend day, guys, and we've already been trending higher. You know, a lot of these stocks have doubled. And yesterday was a big, big kind of volume day on some of these names. They're having a weak open. I think we try for the red to green with the caveat that, frankly, you know, we may have to flip back short. I actually do think BYD probably should hold up okay. I think at this point it's more of a day trading vehicle. You know, you do have a level that over here that it needs to pound over. And probably it needs to stay above 133. So that's your box right there, Sammy. And it's going to have to kind of reside itself in how it wants to move out of there. Good. So, okay, let's get into this. We got a few earnings plays still. I'd add in TLRY. It's not an earnings play, but it's just popping up here. Clean energy, blah, blah, blah. Ooh, Virgin Galactic Holding Science packed for human-tended research spaceflight. Don't know what that means, but this does got a really nice chart. It had a good squeeze on it yesterday from some weakness. Small gap. Small gap. This could be... This could be something. I don't know if this news really means anything, but human-tended research spaceflight. What? I don't even know what that means. But let's add that to the list. It's hot. The chart is hot. If we keep squeezing, I think that this one has got a chance on it. So let's go back through this real quick. These are just the gappers, right? And then we got to go through our earnings plays. We got Jizz. But the problem with Jizz is that it's already faded off like $8 of its gap. And also, we have to look out for our members here. Tell. This thing is an oil and gas stock. I don't know what's going on this bad boy either. Tell signed 10-year pack LNG deal with Vitol, shares soar, pre-bell. Oil and gas has been the hottest sector around this year. It's only a $2 billion company, 200 million share float. It's been doing okay volume of recent. You're in their 20 or 30s. Frankly, this kind of action, this can get bought up. So I'd add that to the list, but you can't chase any oil stock up like 35%. So this would have to be something that pulls back. It starts to round. You really have to start building into it before you probably take a gander in it. It's not really my personal cup of tea. We got with the 1% down in the market. UPST had a big monster close, about 20 points from lunch to the close. You got through $5 gap down on this. I think we play this one on the red to green. You got a location here that it may run through in the next few days. Before their lockup starts to go, I think that this one's going to probably get one last pump before it goes. Yes, one last pump before it goes. Another one that I like for today, Can had a nice rest day. I would call this an inside day. So Can had a nice inside day. So you had this big range the previous day. You're talking from going from 850 to 11. And it unturned itself. It's been a monster turn for a while. It had its earnings out. You had an inside day yesterday and a flat to slightly weak open. Today, this has got a good shot to go red to green today. If you actually take a look at Bitcoin and Solera and some of these other names, we've got ourselves a nice location on. We got a nice rounding pattern on some of these names. Fucking Sol, I got a shitload of that thing. So you can see here you got kind of a W pattern. It was looking like a bear flag, but it changed. I guess that it negated. It was looking like a bear flag, but it's been negated. Now you're starting to get a rounding pattern here. I think if you kind of get over this level, you got two levels here, the 20 SMA and then this 40,000. Once you start clearing it, the squeeze could be on, and we'll have ourselves, nice little pizza party on this. We added this in the chat room yesterday. What did we add this at, guys? 33 maybe, give or take. 33 and some change. Probably target back up into this thing. But I think this thing is hot. This is the best moving coin out of the group. It just has like that awesome range. If you throw 1,000 shares on this thing, and when you get it right, like you always rip 5-10 grand on it fairly easy. I think that this Matic has a very, very narrow range the last 4 or 5 days. So it was a loosey-goosey, it done parabolic, crash, gone. Now the range is tightened up to the point where, it's going to make a move in some manner over here. You want that tightness of range, especially on things that have been trending. They can be huge squeezers. So I do like the overall look of that one. This waves, this thing was a big trender. It went from $5 to 40. Now you've pulled right back into that 200 SMA, and you're remounting the 9 EMA over here. I do think that that's got a lot of potential. I don't think you really see any resistance till 21, 22. This might be another one. You throw 1,000, 2,000 shares on it, you might rip 20 grand, 30 grand really quickly. That's what happens crypto's better for swing trading. Stocks is better for day trading, historically, at least for me the last few years, because, you can't get in stocks like big movement. You just don't get the big like ranges on the swing side, so just, something to always kind of be mindful of. There's a lot, it's way easier. You can double your money very, very quickly, catching the right bounce spot in cryptos, but it's a little bit more tricky in stocks sometimes. It depends on the market. Like right now, we're in a market where it can be done. But you guys know 2 months ago, there wasn't shit to trade in the fucking market, right? Like at least on the long side. So that's where you got to always be a little bit careful. Let's get back into stocks. I think this can is top of the list today. Beyond these earnings plays, I think that's really top of the list. I think we got to roll with that bad boy, man. This fucking Big Five Sporting Goods finally took off, huh? Big Five Sporting Goods. Man, junk. I leave all these kind of things alone. Yeah, even ZM had a not much of a reaction on its earnings. Probably leave that one alone too. Dun, dun, dun. I don't see much on action. You know, there was a weakness in the Chinese names yesterday that was a little bit tough to kind of put a finger on because everything was squeezing, but like Baidu was trending down the whole day. It's also opening weak on support, but then we had PDD with more of an inside day. So who fucking knows? Like they're a little bit hard to read on those. So I'd probably leave those alone. I do think that PDD still is a really strong chart. I put an alert at about 140. See this level right here? I put an alert at 140. That should be around your red to green spot too. I think that thing is hot. Yeah, I think that thing is hot. So if we need something that's weak on a red to green, we roll with this one. That's going to be a little bit of a heater. We roll with CAN also for potential red to green. We roll with Fubo for potential green, red to green. Rye didn't wait for us, so leave that alone. We can't chase this thing up. We'll hit the first dip on Workhorse. So those are our 3 red to greens that we need. I think that Skills is having a little bit more than a light open, but I think Skills also, I got fucking regret. Man, this was a 9 EMA D rider up until 1 o'clock. Hey, anybody? That's the longest 9 EMA rider I've seen in quite some time. So those are the faves. So you got Skills, you got the Fubo, CAN. I think those are going to be our potential red to greens that we want to be putting on this stuff. On these earnings plays, or I should say news plays because they're not all earnings, probably first dip on Workhorse, first dip on TLY, also on Space. Be careful if this Workhorse is just a pump and dump, then you don't want to be the one that's getting dumped. Hey, the CNK Borja, this looks like maybe a more of a longer term kind of trade, but it's just not much of a mover to do short term trading on. It only moves like 50, 60 cents a day. So that's going to be a little bit, I think that's going to be a little bit more tricky. When you think about things to trade, you want to look for stocks that got ATR. So I keep ATR indicator on mine. It's called average true range of the last 5 days. So in general, you need at least a few dollars of ATR to be able to trade something back and forth. But I do think probably this is more of what you call a swing trade, something you tuck away in a longer term account for a couple weeks, but not a good day trader. Hey, this AI had earnings out yesterday, but it's opening up on the 9 EMA, so it's not a clean drop. I think that one's going to be a little bit more tricky. Guys, put all these EVs on your watch list. If this Workhorse squeezes today, which it looks like it might, see it's up to 23%. If the Workhorse squeezes today, this XL is got an $8 breakout. Put an alert there. If it breaks over 8, that looks like a cooker. All right. So if it breaks over 8, that looks like it could be a little bit of cheese. You got RMO, same type of deal. RMO has been moving like real crap lately, but that's how they go. When they start getting pushed, they uncrap themselves very, very fast. So, but I think XL is a little bit cleaner. Let's roll with it and have a little fun. I think that's the list. So the game plan for today, reiterate, you want your buckets, okay? Buckets of trades. QQQ's on a small gap down. We play for the red to green at the open, all right? But if the QQQ's ORB to the downside, meaning the opening range breaks down, we may have to go in and dump the longs and start regurgitating how we look at these things. Now, there's a lot of strength in the markets, but you can see they're not happening in any big cap kind of names right now. They're happening in these turd stocks. I hate trading fucking turd stocks, but we do what we have to do to, make money sometimes. When you're trying to put food on the table for the family, I have to offer my soul and my services and do what I need to do here. So let's go. I don't have any family, but that's how I would do it. I would prostitute myself out for my family if I needed to. So today, we may have to trade these things out, and what are you going to do? All right? So red to green, skills, football, can. Those are the faves. All right? On the big cap names that we trade every day. All right? On the big cap names, Roblox, UPST, potential red degrees, maybe even a little Airbnb. All right? Maybe a little Airbnb also. So on the big cap names, those three. And then we've got Jizz, Tel, BB, Workhorse, TLY, Space. I hate chasing sorry for swearing, 30, 40% gaps. So the odds of me playing any of these three is very little at the open. We'll have to wait these things out. All right? That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Good. Let's have some fun today.